Welcome back to Pewdiepie. I'm Zui and I hope you enjoyed today's video. But before we get right into it, I'm obligated to remind you to click either the like or dislike button, commenting something down below, and of course sharing the video so more people can see and enjoy it. This is very important as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. I want you to know that your help is greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions or ideas for a story, my Discord link is in my link tree that is down in the description, as well as my Patreon and Ko-fi for any donations you may want to send my way. Every cent counts. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video.
You awoke the next day feeling a little sore, yet also really refreshed. It was a strange feeling, truthfully. Rubbing your eyes, you stepped out of the simple straw bed the maid slept in. The other girls were talking feverishly. Apparently, the maid who had been serving the other god last night was bragging. You didn't add much for that, though. As you approached your daily task board, though you were surprised, your name wasn't on it. As far as you could remember, since you started working at the palace, you haven't had a single day off. Confused, you looked around the room. Thankfully, your supervisor was there. One of the only few male maids. He looked at you with a hint of jealousy as you questioned him.
The gods truly are an interesting bunch, aren't they? He said. You've been promoted, little maid, to a handmaid. You are to serve your lord directly.
The man shrugged.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
Your jaw dropped. You then pointed at your face. But I'm nothing special.
Seems your god was pleased by your ritual performance. Whatever you two did.
You blushed hard, wondering if what the two of you did really was necessary for the ritual. And then again, he never said anything about it actually being part of it.
Handmaids are chosen for life, so good job on your promotion, I guess.
He then attempted to return his attention to his work. Wait, you said. What do I do now? Your supervisor, or more former supervisor, looked you up and down.
Well, for one, get out of that uniform. Put on civilian clothes. Go meet with a bishop. Should be in a cathedral. I'll tell you the rest.
As per usual, it seemed everyone knew what was going on except for you. You were just that socially unaware. You returned to the sleeping quarters. The other maid was there too. By now she was alone. She happily laid out her regular clothes. Oh, you're back, she said with a smile. I knew from that face you made last night this was gonna happen. So your god told you about this? She shrugged. I mean, not really, I asked, of course, if what we did meant anything, and, well, it did. Grumbling, you changed from your maid uniform into your regular dress. So what now? You asked cautiously. She grinned a little smugly at you. It's cute you don't know. I can see why they like you so much. You bit your lower lip, suppressing a comment. Okay, stop looking so anxious. We're handmaids now. That's an honor. This means we serve our lords directly. Before the War of the Gods, it was an elven tradition, in fact. Moon introduced it to Sun, as a matter of fact. They can do whatever they want with us, as long as we agree to it, of course. So, what does that mean? It means you can decline any order given to you, however you'd be risking your position. Quietly you nodded. How do you know that? Again, I asked. You growled. I didn't realize I should ask. The maid sighed. So you're an airhead. Nah, that's too insulting. You're unaware. Clumsy. Caught in your own world, I guess. Guess you must be living a fairy tale, huh? You blushed even harder now. I can see why. son likes you so much. She was dead on the money. You did only read children's picture books as a child, and learned how to be a proper servant in the hopes of one day attracting the attention of a knight. You didn't even care if he was unattractive. Having a fantasy fulfilled was all that you really cared about. But that's also why you had no idea when it came to asking questions, or how to do so. You trained your entire life to be pretty and obedient. It wasn't until your first banquet in the Hall of Heroes you learned that you were too plain looking for the nobles of the kingdom. So then, why was Sun so attracted to you? Hello? The other maid snapped her fingers in front of your face. She grinned. Sorry, you apologized. Either way, we should both report to the clergy and get ready for new clothes. Yeah. After getting changed, you followed your companion to the cathedral. By the way, my name is Odette. Embarrassed, you told her your name. Well, cute name. Let's go. The two of you entered the holy building. The monks there were in deep prayer at the moment, as there wasn't a sermon scheduled today. There weren't any civilians or nobles present. Hundreds of figures in brown cloaks were kneeling before a large altar upon which stood a golden statue depicting Solar, the sun god. And standing next to it was Cestus the Elder, oldest bishop of the city. In its hand was a golden staff. It was long, and its upper end was shaped like a bowl. Smoke emanated from it. The silence was deafening. I think we should wait? You whispered to Odette. I'm not so sure myself, she said awkwardly. All I know is the bishop, you answered for her. Yeah. It was then the holy man noticed your arrival. With a soft smile, the old man walked past the monks. The only noise that echoed through the large hall was the rhythmic tock-tock of his staff. He stopped before you and Odette. My children, I have been informed of your encounter with our honorable masters. You frowned. Is something wrong, my child? No one told her what is happening. She is completely ignorant to everything. I see. You glared at the other maid. Well, truthfully, you're on here so I can give you a blessing. Please, follow me. With the bishop taking the lead, he took you to the lower section of the cathedral. Down here it was less pompous. Understandably, those were the skeleton of the cathedral. Something that the civilians and nobles rarely saw. There, inside of a small cobblestone room, he placed your right hand onto a table. It looked a bit like a torture device. It probably even was one. Into your palm he painted a sun symbol with red ink, while painting a white moon into Odette's. From a drawer he then took out 2 golden needles. My children, said the old man, this will hurt me just as much as you, for I've never caused pain on purpose. Over the next hours he slowly and painstakingly began piercing your painted skin. It was overwhelming. Or more overwhelming for you, as you never really experienced pain outside of exhaustion in your life. And after the deed was done, your arms were unstrapped. Your hand felt sore, and was a bit bloody. But you could make out the proud symbol regardless. I must return to my brothers. Your new clothes will be given to you in the castle. You stood in front of the furnace inside the bathhouse. The heat was still too much to bear. You were looking for dried blueberries, vanilla and cherries. You were still in utter disbelief of the turn your life had made. Odette had already finished putting the smelling ingredients into the fire and was already tending to her lord. Your hand still hurt. You really didn't want to use it for anything. But you clenched your teeth and tossed the ingredients into the flames before ascending the stairs. Sun was sitting at the milk's edge. Sun was sitting unclothed at the milk pool's edge, his feet splashing in the liquid. He smiled at you. "Well, quicker than yesterday," he said cheerful, before stretching out both arms. "Come here, my handmaid. I wish to see you up close." You blushed hard and approached him. After you had entered the palace, you had been separated from your companion. 3 guards had taken you to the western wing, where your body had been measured, and a beautiful uniform had been given to you. It was a long red dress that reached your ankles with a heart-shaped hole in its chest, showing off your cleavage. A golden tiara with a singular large ruby had been placed on your head. Tight black shoes gently slipped onto your feet, and a ring made from pink quartz had been placed on your tattooed hand. It was almost like you envisioned your life as a bride of a knight. Yet it was strangely lewd, despite the length of the dress. After that, you had been brought forth to your god Solar, who at the time was sitting on his throne. He looked so bored, and you spent the rest of the day with him, massaging his shoulders, bringing him food and drink, and even combed his luscious hair. Now, however, inside the bathhouse, he was that bubbly fool again that you had found yourself falling for last night. As he stood next to him, he took hold of your right hand and turned it around, inspecting the fresh markings. "It looks beautiful," he said. His eyes then wandered up to your face. "Just like you." You squeaked like a dog's chew toy in response to that. "My dear handmaid, I'm glad that I found you." You hummed. I mean, with all due respect, my lord, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I serve you, yes, but what is the difference between me and the other maids? Without warning, he stood up, not even attempting to cover his shame. He pulled you closer, boldly, wrapping his arms around you tightly. The gods are not allowed to be involved with mortals. You could hear his heartbeat. It was calm and rhythmic, his body warm and welcoming. We're not allowed to marry humans, elves, dwarves, for we are eternal, unless stripped of it. Even the 300 years one of the forest dwellers can live are more or less just a few moments for us. To help with the stress and loneliness of eternity, the gods of the past had vast harems. You gulped loudly. But he took a step back, never letting go of your hand. You can thank my brother for that. Harems led to decadency. You see, when a man is surrounded by the most beautiful women at all times, they lose themselves in the pleasure, no matter how temporary. Makes them weak. So we assimilated an elven tradition into our religion. All thanks to Moon. You mean the handmaids? Precisely. So, am I just an eye candy for you to ogle at, or am I like a wife because you're not allowed to have one? He smirked. That's up to you. Your interpretation. And how much I'm going to like your relationship. Truthfully, it has been 200 years since the last time I had chosen a handmaid. That makes you special. And that is why I will take good care of you. He leaned forward, pressing his lips gently onto your forehead. I'm your companion, you said, realizing your role. He shrugged. Sun wanted to repeat what he just said, but it felt redundant. I'm so glad to serve you, my lord. He smiled, combing through her hair with one hand. After a quiet moment, Sun peeled himself off of you and walked down the stairs of the milk pool. Sitting down on a submerged bench, he looked at you expectantly. Before you come in with me, my maid, would you be so kind and... He pointed at a table at the other end of the bathhouse. On it stood a golden bowl, filled with something you couldn't quite make out thanks to the mist. Could you bring that to us? Sure, my lord. Without any hesitation, you shedded your clothes, neatly folded them before rushing to the table. Up close, you could see that it was filled to the brim with blue berries. Their rough bottoms were removed, leaving each with a small hole. Not thinking, you took one and put it in your mouth. A sweet explosion erupted in your mouth. You never tasted a blueberry like this before. They usually just tasted slimy and just slightly sugary. But not like this. This was like one of those picture book berries. Just like they described it. What's taking so long? You blushed, picked up the bowl and turned around. I apologize, my lord. Quickly you approached the pool stairs. Yorkily held the bowl up to not let it touch the milk. As you continued your way to the master, the liquid was warm and pleasant on your skin. Sitting now next to him, you held it up for him. With a light chuckle, he took it from you and placed it behind you at the pool's edge. Sun then smiled at you. Well then, he said. Would you mind feeding me? Your eyes widened, and your lips quivered excitedly. Of course! With a shaking hand, you picked up a berry and guided it to his mouth. You tenderly placed it on his tongue before treating your hand. Watching him chew made you blush even harder. He then scratched over his chin. These aren't as sweet as the ones I had 3 days ago, he said with slight disappointment. You furrowed your brows. Why don't you have one? And tell me what you think. Now he was the one offering you. Your god, your master, was holding a berry right under your nose. His perfectly kept skin and nails were holding a stupid berry for you right under your... Your lips quivered as you opened your mouth. But instead of putting the sweet treat on your tongue, he quickly leaned forward. You inhaled in shock as you felt his warm lips crash onto yours. But that wasn't everything. As his tongue made its way into your mouth, there was something else. Something round and juicy. No way. As he had leaned forward to kiss you, he had quickly taken the berry in his mouth. You crushed the fruit between your tongues, and the sweet purple juice spread inside them like a warm, sweet blanket. You were so flustered. You felt like you were going to lose your mind. Eagerly gulped down the liquid and the fruit bits that had went into your mouth.